Good morning and welcome back to my YouTube video. Firstly, just want to say I'm so sorry I didn't post on Thursday. I was in hospital all day, so that video has now been postponed until this Thursday. A little chit chat about HG and pregnancy. Obviously that's why I wasn't here, because I wasn't in hospital on Thursday. So I'm going to basically just run through a few tips I have been given and my this far obviously experience of pregnancy and how difficult it's been, but how I wouldn't obviously change it for the world because I can't wait to meet my little baby. Start off from obviously, yeah, I have endo, that's endometriosis if you don't know what endo is. Endometriosis, which means that isn't actually related to this, but before I fell pregnant I was actually being really sick anyway, which the reason I think I was being really sick was because I've been on such strong painkillers for over a decade that I think my stomach is a little bit damaged, and so I was being really sick all the time with food, really bad acid reflux, etc. And they were doing some tests into that, and they would have been looking further into all of this had I had my operation, which I'd been waiting over a year for, and then I fell pregnant. Basically, I fell pregnant, found out on the 27th of April, and then about a week or 2 weeks later, I got a phone call saying, "Would you like your operation in 2 weeks' time?" Which I couldn't believe, because obviously it was like the irony. I just had a feeling that that was going to happen. Obviously I've been waiting so long for it, so it was a bit of a hit and miss feeling. And then obviously when it got to the day that they would have scheduled my operation for, I felt so weird inside, because I had been anticipating and hoping and waiting for that for so long that it was weird that I hadn't even told anyone. Obviously I would have had it on that day, so only Ben knew, and you know, I found it a really, really bizarre feeling. But anyway, that wasn't necessarily to do with me being sick, that was more of a result of the medication I've taken for endo pain, which I'm not sure of. I don't know, there could be another underlying issue that we're not aware of and that might need looking into after pregnancy or whatever. But during pregnancy I've obviously got HG, which I do not know how to pronounce this. It's something along the lines of hyperemesis gavardium or something like that, but I sound like I am casting a Hermione spell when I say that, so don't quote me on it. I basically, the first couple of weeks of being pregnant, I felt really healthy. I hadn't been being sick, which I thought was bizarre, kind of what hinted towards me knowing I might be pregnant. And then the morning sickness hit, which obviously I thought was just morning sickness, but it was pretty extreme. So I was being sick all morning until like lunchtime. I couldn't eat, I couldn't keep anything down. I was then being sick, you know, pretty much all throughout the afternoon and all evening really. It was just not ideal. And not just being sick, but I also had TMI, diarrhea as well, and that hasn't stopped. That has been throughout the whole pregnancy. It's been both ways, which is obviously not ideal and means I'm losing a lot of fluid. Now, because I've always been into my health and fitness, I have always been really good at drinking water, and I mean really good. So my body's obviously really good at keeping hydrated and replacing like lost electrolytes, etc. So even when I'm being really sick and I've got really bad diarrhea, I'm still trying my best to drink as much as physically possible, even if that's obviously sipping and not getting that much in, not keeping that much in. But like the doctor obviously has then pointed out to me, is even though I'm having an insane amount of that, I'm also losing a crazy amount, which you can't kind of keep on track of. But whenever I have gone to the doctors, obviously barely eaten for like a week, or obviously everything I have eaten has just come back either way. Same with then fluids, you know, fluids were just coming back. I was basically having my blood pressure taken, that being fine, and then having my urine tested, and you know, nothing was showing. So basically they were saying you're not dehydrated, so it's not a problem, basically implying that I was lying and that I was literally making it up. And that is ridiculous. Like, you kind of sit there and you're like looking at them and it's like, what do you want me to do to prove to you that this is happening? Like, do you want to spend the whole day with me and see what's going on every day? I am so ill. I'm really struggling, obviously, with going to work and everything. It's really difficult because I'm being extremely sick, having really bad, you know what, and I can barely keep anything, any food, any drink in my system, which obviously I'm worried about. I was losing weight, which they haven't actually monitored, really. They just were checking whether I was dehydrated, which I wasn't. And that was really annoying for me because I think I got put on a drip the one time. I don't know if that was when I was pregnant or before I was pregnant. I think that was actually before I was pregnant with like being sick with the endo. They put me on a drip that time, but then the few times I've been when I've been pregnant, you know, they've done tons of tests and then basically turn around and been like, you're not dehydrated, so you're fine, don't know why the doctor sent you here, blah blah blah, and made me feel like a right idiot, which is just so wrong. Like, I know firsthand from myself and other people who I know with endo, and obviously then with this as well, it's like, because you're someone who tries and tries and tries to keep going, you try and keep working as much as physically possible, you try and keep eating, you try and keep drinking, you don't give up and you just keep pushing, you get looked at as though you're making it up, as though it's not actually happening, when no, you're actually incredibly strong and you're pushing through it and you're doing everything you can to help yourself, help your body and help your baby. It's actually astronomical. It was the same with endo, and now it's obviously the same with pregnancy. They kind of look at you as if you're making it up, and it's just, it's so disheartening because you're going to them for help and they're turning around making you feel like you're crazy. So, you know, one time I was taken in to, like, I don't know what department it was actually called, but it was something to do with the maternity wards, you know, like in that area, and basically they'd taken me in because the doctor had implied to them that she thought I had HG. Then they basically just turned around and honestly laughed in my face, saying they thought I had like a diarrhea and sickness bug. I was like, no, no, you're not getting it. I'm 14 at this point. I was 14 weeks pregnant and this had been going on for 14 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, how can you turn around to me and say that and make me feel stupid? And basically, you know, they'd given me something to eat, and because I tried to eat a mouthful, like not exaggerating, a mouthful of pasta, and I'd attempted to eat that, and I'd kept it down, as far as they knew, because I had been to the bathroom multiple times, so as far as they knew, I could have been being sick, and I actually wasn't, and, you know, it could have gone either way. They didn't actually know that, they didn't even ask me that, but because they saw me try and eat the pasta, they just turned around to me and laughed at me and were like, you've not got it, it's ridiculous, basically people who have it are sick from morning till evening, they can't brush their teeth without being sick, they're this, they're that, and I literally was looking at it almost in tears going, but that is me, that is happening to me, I am sick when I brush my teeth, I am sick from morning till evening, the same with both ways, and you know, basically they just made me feel like a right idiot after again spending hours and hours asking for help. So it's just so frustrating trying to get any help, and you feel like you're just fighting a losing battle, which is just a daft, especially because obviously you don't want there to be an issue. All you want is just a little bit of help or a little bit of guidance, or even just someone to acknowledge the fact that it's not actually just normal and that not every single person who has pregnancy goes through that, because they really don't. And you know, anyone I know not anyone, because obviously there are people who I know who have gone through this same thing and have spoken to me about that, but a lot of people I know have turned around and gone, my pregnancy has been nothing like that. I don't know how you manage it in, because obviously morning sickness was bad enough, kind of thing. And you just, I don't know, it's like you just need that little bit of help or guidance or something. Or just acknowledgement, like I say, just being acknowledged and listened to would help. But obviously that wasn't happening to start with. So I have then gone, I've been, told my doctor about it. Basically, by the time I spoke to my doctor, because I'm under the GP, because I have endo, OCD and costochondritis, so I'm not just under the midwife, I'm under the GP as well, which means I have GP appointments as well as midwife appointments. So basically the GP had asked me, about general stuff, and then said, is there anything else you wanted to discuss? And by the point I was talking to her, I had had some severe dizzy spells. Now, when I say passing out, I didn't quite lose consciousness, but I lost my vision. So it had happened a couple of times where it had been mild, just a bit dizzy, struggling to stand up, needing to sit down or needing to stand up slower, etc. But then this first time it happened more severe. I was stood up making breakfast and I kind of just thought to myself, I need to sit down. I feel like I need to sit down. And then again, because I'm such a motivated person, I motivate myself, I literally in my own head was having this conversation going, I really could do a sit down, I feel like I really need to sit down right now. And then I spoke to myself again and said, no Robin, you've got this, you're literally making breakfast, you'll go and sit down with your breakfast in a moment, just finish making that and then go and sit down. Now in hindsight, I should have listened to my body telling me to sit down, because then I literally apparently lost all colour in my face. I was like this, I couldn't even see where I was going, and stumbled, and luckily because I was in the kitchen I was right near a chair. So I managed to get sat down on the chair. It was like when I was stood up, it felt like the blood had gone rushing to my head, but my head had gone white. And I then went and managed to get to a chair, which then I kind of got my stability, had to sit there, and then stumbled to the floor near the door because I went extraordinarily hot. So that door was open because I was cooking. So I went and sat by the door and cooled right down and just sat there for a while and stood up at my own pace. Then brought over a sugary drink for me to drink before I stood up, and I then just dealt with it and then had some breakfast, and after I'd had breakfast I felt a little bit better. That was the first time it happened more severely, and thankfully I was near a chair, because otherwise I was petrified in the moment. I was literally petrified because I couldn't see or anything, so I thought I was literally just going to fall over, which was obviously scary, especially when you're pregnant. So that happened one time, and then it kept happening more times. So it got to a point where I'd obviously mentioned it to the doctor. She said you should have gone to urgent care when that happened, so next time it happens go to urgent care. But because I'd been to A&E and urgent care multiple times already and been made to feel stupid, I've just thought to myself, what is the point? What is the point in me going when I feel like that and you feel like that rubbish, and all you need to do is be laying down with drinks and someone you love caring for you and obviously being there to bring you drinks or food or whatever, instead to go and have to sit and wait in a hospital for hours and hours and hours, to go through multiple different people, tell them all the same thing over and over, to then get to the final person you're going to see and them turn around and literally just say, you're just pregnant, it's just this, you just need to drink more water and drink more sugary drinks. They turn around your blood pressure's fine, because by the time you've been seen, your blood pressure has gone back to normal. But if they tested it in the moment when that was happening, it 100% wouldn't be normal, because obviously it wouldn't happen if that was the case. So I just kind of avoided going, and it feels like you're being a hypochondriac by just going every time. Sometimes it was happening when I was working, either from home or at work, and it, you know, it didn't feel like I should be doing that, because it felt like I was just going to waste a day. Then it happened probably about 7 times more severely, and a lot of times more mildly. See, I'm like really losing my breath and losing my, I feel dizzy now. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I basically, cut to the chase, was then in work on Thursday, and it happened when I was sat in a chair, which had happened a couple of times but not this severe. Completely lost my vision, could just see like flashing lights and black and then flashing white lights, and it was like there was so much pressure in my head, and it was really, 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 really hot. And then all my nose started tingling, my lips, my hands, lost the sensation in my right foot, and I couldn't lift my head up because I was literally just like that, like just so dizzy and out of it. That happened, which was obviously petrifying, but because I was sat down I wasn't even stood up. So I then obviously was losing all the sensation everywhere as well, which worried me. So I was speaking to them, texting them, saying, you know, I think I need to get seen now, like it's getting beyond a joke, it's scary, I don't want to drive anywhere. What should we do? Because obviously he was in work, and mum and dad were in Cornwall. He'd texted his mum, but he hadn't rung his mum, but by the time after he texted his mum, he'd already then asked his work if he could come and get me. So he came to pick me up. I had to just abandon my car, and we just had to go straight to the hospital. I also then, I had tried to stand up to go to the toilet after I'd like found stability, and then my whole left calf tightened up and went tingly and felt really weird, which again scared me, because you know, when it's your calves and stuff, if you know the body, you know, like I just think, oh my god, like what if it was like a blood clot or something? Like obviously it petrifies you. So I needed to just get it all checked over and to be taken seriously. So when I got there, I had one of those experiences with security. Basically, I asked, Ben was walking in with me, he got turned away, and I got in there, and every Tom, Dick and Harry had a partner with them. So I was sat there trying to work out, like, is something going on here that I don't know about? As the guard just like changed shifts, and this is a new guy, and he's literally just not let my boyfriend in, and everyone else has got someone with them. Bear in mind that's just happened, and I was petrified, and I felt like I needed someone with me, especially someone that I actually know, just in the waiting area at least. I understand what's going on with COVID and everything, so obviously that's why Ben had just left without a fuss. But then I've gone in, everyone's got someone with them, and I was getting more and more anxious, more and more worried. I was just like, what's going on here? And then people kept coming in, and I was seeing him let more people in with partners, so I was like, I'm sorry, but this is just not on, this is just not fair. I feel petrified. I'm still dizzy, shaking, everything's tingling. Scared to even stand up, but I thought the only way of me getting Ben in here is me going over to ask. So after I saw more people come in with partners, I went over and said, you know, what is going on? Why can't my partner come in? The person said to me, you know, it's policy that it's only if you've got mental health issues, or you are disabled, or you're severely old. So I'm going, you know, I'm pregnant. I do have severe anxiety and OCD. I have other health complications. By this point I'm literally like hyperventilating, crying, because all I wanted was Ben to just be there with me. Obviously I'm getting emotional now thinking about it. And he's just turning around to me going, no, you didn't say that when you walked in. And I said, you didn't ask, you did not ask. You just literally turned around to us and said he's not allowed in. You didn't ask the scenario, you didn't even ask why I was there. It wasn't even obvious I was pregnant because of what I was wearing. And, you know, you're just so annoyed. Like, I said, what, so every single person in there has walked in and said, oh, I've got anxiety, so they're allowed a partner with them. He's like, yeah. I was like, well, I have it, so when can he come back? And they're just like, he's just like, obviously point blank refusing, basically saying, you know, you should have said that when you came in, blah, blah, blah. I was like, this is literally just so ridiculous. Then he said, you go to reception, ask them, that's what they've all had to do. So I was like, fine, I'll go and ask them. Go and ask them to then be told again, you know, yeah, you might have all of those, you might have mental health issues, but because that's not the reason you're here, you can't come in, you know, that's why they're here. I was like, what, so all of these people in here are here because they've got anxiety, and they're in A&E because they've got anxiety? I just don't believe you. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that's the scenario. I feel like they've literally all just walked in and they've just refused the rules. And they're like, no, yeah, they've got like this. I was like, literally crying my eyes out. I was at a point where I didn't even care. There's a room full of people, and they could probably all tell what was going on because they all had their partners with them, and I didn't. So I'm like the youngest in there as well, crying my eyes out because my boyfriend's not allowed there, and you know, I'm petrified. I'm just like passed out pregnant. I was like, this is just beyond a joke. Obviously I've been waiting ages by that point as well. Then I got called in, so I was like hyperventilating when I got called in, so my heart rate was through the roof, and then obviously got checked out and everything through triage, and I got basically passed through multiple different departments. I just had to let go of the fact that Ben wasn't there. But then I was basically waiting to be sent to the next area, which was like the medics or something like that. Which in hindsight, I'm really lucky because I ended up getting taken off to some other department that had a shorter waiting time because of my situation, which some other people had as well. When I say shorter waiting time, in total I was there 7 hours, so I dread to imagine what it would have been had I have not been taken off to that other department eventually. But, you know, we sat there again, hours and hours and hours. Been there like 4 hours already, and there was another guy sat next to me, and I could tell he was kind of thinking the same sort of thing as me because he kept kind of looking at me as though he was thinking what I was thinking. And you know, all these people with their partners, they're all like sat down, and all of their partners, because they were all waiting to go in the same place and no one was getting taken in yet. Bear in mind, these people had come in after me and after the guy who was sat next to me because he'd come in before me even. And all these people had come in afterwards and they're just getting impatient. And they've got their partners with them. And not just their partners, but some of them had their partners and their children as well. And it, like, I couldn't even believe it, to be honest. Then all their families and partners, whatever, going over and complaining that they've been waiting too long and X, Y and Z. And not just that, but complaining about masks and not wearing a mask. So my boyfriend, who was wearing a mask and would have helped me, wasn't allowed in, but all these people have come in with no masks, all the family, and they're all now complaining and also then jumping the queue. You know, when you just sat there like, what is going on? It just cut off then, so I don't know what I'd just said. But yeah, this guy obviously was sat thinking the exact same thing, and he just literally turned to me and was like, and I just looked at him and was like, what is going on? And I said to him, I said, you know, my partner was refused, and he was like, what? Have you seen what's going on here? Honestly. Anyway, that's just an off-topic rant about the whole experience of Thursday because it was just not enjoyable. But lo and behold, I got seen eventually and got given the diagnosis of HG, but was just literally told all you can do is drink more water and sugary drinks. So I was like looking like, really? I've been sat here that long just to be told what I already know, and that I physically couldn't drink any more water, and I've been drinking my sugary drinks. So basically what you're saying is there's nothing else I can do and I'm just going to have to put up with it, which is fine. I get it, it is what it is, but it's just difficult to deal with. But at least obviously, you know, they've taken me seriously this time, and you know, given it the name of what it actually is, rather than just laughing at me as though I just got morning sickness. And yeah, that was that. It was, you know, I went through all sorts of tests that day, all sorts, repeatedly as well. They did track things over and over, had me lying, standing, sitting, doing all sorts of things. So, you know, they did actually get to the bottom of it, so I'm grateful for that. But honestly, at the end of the day, you know, basically they told me as well I had really low blood sugar for someone who's pregnant. But yeah, they hadn't like offered me even like a biscuit or anything, and they found that out like 4 hours ago, and I was like, oh my god, what? You found out literally that about an hour after I got here that I've got really low blood sugar, and you've not offered me anything to kind of try and rectify that. Like, I've now been sat here 7 hours without eating. Luckily, I'd got myself a cup of tea in the lobby because I felt so rubbish. I felt like I couldn't eat because I knew I was going to be sick if I ate, so I had a cup of tea with some sugars in, and then they did eventually come round and offer, when I went upstairs to the different department, they offered everyone a cup of tea. So I had 2 cups of tea, which I'm glad about. But yeah, obviously after that I was still shaking, I was still having really severe tingling, kept coming back really bad, especially in the fingers where they'd like taken blood and stuff. It was getting really intense. But at least I know there's not another issue, you know, it's not something that's more complicated. They know what it is. It is just HG, which means unfortunately there isn't more I can do other than keep on top of my fluids and try and eat and drink slowly as much as possible throughout the day, keep my sugars up and avoid driving, and then, you know, go back and see my doctor maybe next week if things haven't improved, because by then I will be over the 20-week mark, which I do have an appointment with my GP on Friday next week anyway, by coincidence, so that is luckily okay. But yeah, that's my experience. Obviously I've then been told by people some good tips of drinking through one of those water bottles with a straw, so I'm going to order one of those. I've got some wristbands. People said those travel wristbands, you know, the anti-sickness ones, to try those, and stuff like keeping sweets in your handbag and having them with you wherever you go. And then obviously I haven't driven since because I've been too scared to do that. And obviously they've then told me not to, so, because I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know when it could get that bad again, and if I was driving that would be really dangerous. So yeah, it's just taking any tips. If you have any tips or any experience, please let me know, because I will be very grateful. And other than that, it's just literally trying to do all those things that people have said, and some people have said Sprite, so I've got some Sprite. You know, I've got all the sugary drinks rather than the sugar-free, and I'm just trying to keep on top of that throughout the day. So because I've been filming for a while now, I am feeling very dizzy and need to definitely go and have some drinks now. So, thanks for listening, thanks for watching for my little HG rant, and I would like to know any experiences, advice in the comments of anything I've discussed, and yeah, it's nice to catch up with you guys. Other than that, obviously I'm doing good. I'm nearly 20 weeks pregnant now. I've got my 20-week scan this week, so that will be involved in obviously next week's videos. I will update you on with a little picture, and we will soon, in a couple of weeks, be announcing the gender. So stay tuned, make sure you subscribe, and thanks so much for watching and paying attention to me, especially on this lovely Sunday morning when I have just woken up and I haven't even brushed my hair yet. I'm in my pyjamas. I've got a croaky voice because I talked so much yesterday, and I am dizzy. I'm literally just having a rant at the camera. So thanks for watching, and I will speak to you guys again very soon. Obviously Thursday's video will be up this Thursday, and yeah, I will see you then. Love you and leave you. Have a good week.